the Electoral Commission announced to the nation that there is going to be some elections on the 11th of July. And today they put out some polling stations that, according to them, these are the polling stations that the elections will take place. I want to tell the Electoral Commission that they are dealing with issues of their own integrity. Because when the mandamus order was granted by the court, and they were in the process of finalizing the collation, and there were disturbances, they themselves issued a statement, a public statement, and addressed the press, telling the people of Ghana that indeed they have only 3 polling stations left to finalize the collation process to enable them to declare. Mr. Speaker, not long after that, they themselves wrote to the Ghana Police Service requesting for police protection. A member of this house filed an urgent question, which question compelled the EC to come here. A lot of supplementary questions were asked. The deputy chair, Dr. Bosman, sitting in for his boss, told us that all they need is security to enable them finish the 3 polling stations. I ask a question. What has changed? Mr. Speaker, we should be careful as a democracy how we are managing this democracy. Mr. Speaker, today we have a member in this chamber from Domi Kwabenya, because when it was left with some few polling stations, EC relied on tally cards. Aden Michael Kwe Jr. onu di onye nipa, onye Ghanini. Michael Kwe Jr. protested, but he did not protest with violence. He did not carry his constituent to the EC Collation Center. He expressed his disagreement in a civil way. Today, we have our colleague Akurugu in with us because EC used tally cards to complete the collation process. And when it is clear that the EC was on course to complete this process, we are being told today that there's going to be rerun of some constituencies. It is unfair. It is unjust. Is it the case, and I don't want to believe that that is the case, that the recent public comment by some senior politicians is what is compelling EC perhaps to secure their job? They want to succumb to the whims and caprices of certain extremists or certain hardliners. It is not fair. Maybe today this thing is helping some other people. Tomorrow it may be their turn. Mr. Speaker, with all of this said, I would humbly plead with my colleague opposite me to program the EC. We just received Prime Minister Modi talking about our strides in democracy. Let us not wish them away. In the sub-region, many countries wish they were Ghana. They are not Ghana because they took the institutions for granted. And today, they are paying dearly for it. Let's not say to ourselves, had I known, EC must come here and brief us why in spite of their being unequivocal, they have now changed course. We must not allow this. So, Mr. Speaker, I expect that on issue 1, next week, the EC will be programmed to come and brief the House. We see some people are with all smiles. They are not questioning the 19 because it suits them. We see them, smiles all over, broad smiles on their faces. Mr. Speaker, issue 2. Issue 2. My respected colleague, Honorable Anodompre, and Honorable Habib, MP for Tolon, have raised this matter. And I proceed to raise it again at the risk of being repetitive. PURC and the government, within 6 months, they have increased electricity tariffs by 16.45%, almost 17%. Akufo-Addo's 8 years, we didn't see an increase in electricity tariffs at that level. Rather, they reduced, Akufo-Addo's government that was criticized by NDC, reduced electricity tariffs. Mr. Speaker, today, within 6 months, they started with 14% and they've added 2.45%. Why? The energy minister should come to this House and share with us the reforms they are undertaking instead of burdening Ghanaians with tax. Why increase by 17%, almost 17%, when at the same time you claim you are introducing 24-hour economy with electricity tariffs as part of the incentives? Mr. Speaker, this government must know that it made promises. And was it a promise that they were going to increase electricity tariffs? Almost 17% in 6 months. This is unacceptable. So, Mr. Speaker, I do not want the majority leader to wish this away. This is not the normal politics. The energy minister should come to this House, should tell us. In fact, the minority caucus has come out with a policy document on this matter and will share it with the public. Government has no set justification to increase electricity tariffs 14% and 2.4% just within 6 months. It's not acceptable. Mr. Speaker, now they are so-called 24-hour economy. Yesterday they launched it without due regard to Parliament. And Honorable Habib Idrisu emphasized that. But I will give some details. Now you say that the 24-hour economy policy will require 4 billion. Meanwhile, you've only a paltry sum of 300 to 400 million in public funding by way of commitment. And you say the rest is on a private sector investment promises. Very vague. Very vague. You go on a campaign platform to create the impression that you have something of value. Then you come with a vague promise that the rest is private sector. Meanwhile, there are no incentives for the private sector. Since they came into office, they should share with us a single incentive they've introduced for the private sector. Even the 1D, 1F policy, you've cancelled it. Then you say the rest of it is coming from the private sector. I want to ask the government, and I want Minister, Leader of Government Business to take this on board. The heavy dependence on the PPPs and the SPVs without clarity on structure, risk sharing, or funding sources makes this vague. So they should come again. 2, non-alignment with Ghana's debt sustainability plan and the IMF program still makes this policy vague. No medium-term fiscal framework or concrete revenue mobilization strategy to support this program makes it vague. The risk of off-balance sheet liability that could burden taxpayers also makes this vague. Mr. Speaker, we in the minority see this as a mere PR tool to distract from real-time economic hardship and win public goodwill. Because you've just increased tariffs. Even you introduce a levy which the people call it Doomsday levy, the energy recovery, whatever sustainability levy they introduced. The Doomsday levy, which is going to take 4 cedi, 50 pesos per gallon of petrol that Ghanaians buy. And we had the majority leader supporting it, that quote him, only 1 liter, only 1 liter. That was the majority leader. 1 liter is only. Mr. Speaker, this government should not take the people for granted. We need the finance minister to come here and brief us with proper information on this matter. Because Mr. President told us during SONA that the finance minister will brief us on this matter. So we expect the finance minister to come. Mr. Speaker, on the Galamsey fight, the TUC, organized labor, was bold on May Day to express its displeasure and disgust on what is happening. In fact, according to the TUC, the situation has even worsened. Today, we know what is happening there. Can the former leader, deputy leader of this house, who is now the minister, come and really brief this house on what he is doing to stop this Galamsey? It was a major campaign too that the Akufo-Addo government couldn't do much, and that government, NDC government, would introduce a state of emergency on this matter. Where is the state of emergency? What are we hearing? Mr. Speaker, the water bodies that are being destroyed, Ghana Water can no more guarantee us potable water. And is the government saying that is not aware of this? We need the minister here. He shouldn't be comfortable in his ministry. We're tired of the talks. We want action. And I will plead with my colleague, leader of government business, to program him to come and brief us on the ministerial policy on this matter. Mr. Speaker, my last but not the least point is this matter of mass dismissals. Yes, we've heard about Bank of Ghana retreating and re-engaging the workers. But Mr. Speaker, Ghana Water, a lot were sacked. People were long employed before December 2024. Ghana Maritime Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, GES employed a lot of teachers who are still in the rural areas teaching, yet they have not been regularized. Mr. Speaker, BOST recently, just last week, some security personnel who were employed, they've all been dismissed. Mr. Speaker, this is not good for the image of our country. Who knows what will happen in 2028? So, some Ghanaians are considered as not being part of the government because they are not party people. They are sacked. Then another government comes and another group also go and sit at home. Mr. Speaker, we are not nurturing talent. The various sector heads should take this serious. We can't continue to allow this to happen to our country. Enough of this, Mr. Speaker. I will plead with the leader of government business to program the employment minister to give us an update. The last time he said there was some investigation. I will plead with him. Can you imagine the over 150 people who were employed by Parliament after the election? These 150 people who were employed by Parliament, if they are sent home, what will happen to Parliament? If Mr. Speaker had implemented the letter from the Chief of Staff, what will happen to Parliament? And I will repeat one more time. Our friend Okujeto Ablakwa, he is on record to have said that although he saw the letter, he felt that no, this thing will not help the country. I commend him. I commend Ablakwa, the foreign minister, for he saying that having perused the records, the people were interviewed long before the elections. If Ablakwa can take this step, why are the other institutional heads even going back to 2017, Ghana Maritime Authority, people with their contract of employment from 2017, if you go to Exim Bank, they date back to 2018, sacking them. Mr. Speaker, we have to be careful. We have to be careful how we are polarizing our country. Mr. Speaker, I pray that the Honorable Minister for Employment will come here. Mr. Speaker, I had said earlier that last but not the least, but forgive me, there is one more point I skipped. Mr. Speaker, I and my colleagues in the minority caucus are not against accountability. When a person gets into public office, he should reasonably expect that someday he would have to account for his stewardship. But what is happening in this country today will not help the cause of democracy. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Abdul Hanan Wahab, former CEO of National Food Buffer Stock Company, and his wife were arrested by Iyoko on June 25th, 2025 for some alleged offenses. And Mr. Speaker, can you imagine that Iyoko has now introduced a certain bail condition? The mere fact that it is investigating, it tells you that go and bring property, titled property, and they say because of the investigation, bring 50 million. If you don't have that property worth that amount, you will stay in their cells. They did it to Chairman Wuntumi. They've done it to Kwabena Edubwa, and someone who has served as a security chief for over 20 years. And now it is Hanan and the wife. This man was our former candidate, MPP candidate for Pusiga. You are investigating. Can't you grant the person bail, especially when the person is in Ghana? Mr. Speaker, if this precedence is allowed, let's be careful. Oh. Ghana, look, Kufuor came in 2000. MPP thought that it would be in power for a long time. By 2008, MPP lost. NDC came again. 2016, NDC thought it would win. Then MPP came. Can't we as a political class, for once, sit down and stop this? Mr. Speaker, I will conclude by encouraging the majority leader to program the Attorney General. He supervises Iyoko. Maybe some of you may not be happy with me, but tomorrow, some of you are serving as ministers, serving as board chairs. You may rely on this for your comfort. Can you imagine you and your wife, 2029, if power changes, and then they come for you and demand, you can shake your hands, don't worry. You and I don't control destiny. But just imagine it, that they come and tell you that go and produce property worth 50 million when there's only investigation. At least if Iyoko is minded, it should go to court. If Iyoko believes strongly in its case that it has uncovered some rot, go to court, apply for a bench bail, and say that look, the court should grant bail on these conditions for the court to determine. That one, you'll be pursuing justice and you will be acting in the interest of your fellow Ghanaian. But what they are doing, they'll be in their office, talk about administrative discretion, bring property. And this man has been in their custody for weeks. And if you go, they'll say, oh, we have granted bail, they have not met the condition. If you make the bail condition onerous, I will plead with my respected friend, Mr. Raymond Archer, the executive director of Iyoko, and his team to look at this again. It is not helping our country. Ghana has moved past this. People are suffering. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case and pray that the leader of the House will look at the issues raised and address them for us. I thank you.
Yes, Majority Leader, Chairman of Business Committee.
Right, Honorable Speaker, let me thank honorable members for the issues raised regarding the Business Committee's report. I have said severally that we turn the Business Committee report discussions into press conferences. This is not the best practice, but we persist in that. So let me respond as copiously as the issues were raised. First, Electoral Commission. First, Electoral Commission. I have a letter from a press release by the Electoral Commission dated 2nd July 2025. And it reads, elections in selected polling stations in Ablekuma North constituency. As part of its commitment to resolve the impasse regarding the Ablekuma North constituency parliamentary elections, the Electoral Commission yesterday, Tuesday, 1st July 2025, met with the representatives of the National Democratic Congress and New Patriotic Party. The meeting, which was a follow-up to an earlier meeting held on Thursday, 12 June 2025, provided both parties the opportunity to brief the Commission on any new developments regarding the said constituency. The parties informed the Commission that their positions put forward at the last meeting remained unchanged. The NDC held the view that the election should be rerun in 37 polling stations because scanned pink sheets from 37 polling stations which were used to collate the results were provided by the NPP. The NPP was of the view that the results from 3 outstanding polling stations be collated and a winner declared, since the NDC agents had verified and confirmed the scanned polling stations results they presented. It is important for the public to understand that the issue in contention has to do with the fact that 37 pink sheets provided by the MPP and used to collate the results were scanned copies. So the Electoral Commission is saying that the issue in contention is that 37 pink sheets provided by the NPP are scanned copies, not originals. The public may recall that political party supporters besieged our coalition center and destroyed a number of the pink sheets for the Ablekuma North parliamentary elections during the collation of results following the December 7 general elections. Trying to get the second page. Oh no. After extensive deliberations, and this is important, after extensive deliberations, the Commission informed the political parties that it will proceed to rerun the election in 19 out of the 37 polling stations. The Commission arrived at the decision to rerun the election in the underlisted polling stations because the 19 scanned polling station results used for the collation, though approved by agents of both political parties, were not verified by the presiding officers responsible for those polling stations. This is the reason. The Electoral Commission is saying that their own presiding officers did not verify the 19 polling stations. And because their presiding officers did not verify the 19 polling stations, they don't think that those polling station results should be used. And that is why they are deciding to rerun those 19 polling stations. You made reference to the presentations made by the EC in this house. If you recall, after the EC's presentation, I drew the attention to the fact that the matter in contention was the issue of verification of the pink sheets, the scanned ones, and that their own presiding officers did not verify the pink sheets. And that day he was calling on this house to help them to have security to collect the results. And I said that for this house to help you, this house has to verify that what you are telling us is true. And I know because everything happened on television and the presiding officers did not verify those pink sheets. So if you want us to help you, we will conduct an inquiry in this house. And if we establish that your own presiding officers verify those pink sheets, then we will direct the police to come and provide you with the protection you need to collect the results. This is what has made them to go back, think over it, and now decide that they have to come clean on the fact that their own presiding officers did not verify the scanned pink sheets. And if the scanned pink sheets were not verified by their own presiding officers, on what basis should that be used? That is why they are calling for a rerun of those 19 polling stations. I don't know why you are afraid. Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid? So please, let us not try to politicize this and say that because recently the national chairman of one political party made a statement, the EC is intimidated. No, it's just fair and reasonable that if their own officers did not verify those pink sheets, that they should rerun those polling stations. Mr. Speaker, Galamsey activities. Indeed, it is our promise that we will deal firmly and ruthlessly with Galamsey. We have embarked on a relentless war to end Galamsey. We have confiscated a lot of excavators. Indeed, if you go around the country and you go to Galamsey sites, you will not see excavators engage in Galamsey operations. That I can assure you. We still have some of our own citizens engage in the artisanal mining activities. Indeed, long before Galamsey became a major issue, artisanal small-scale mining activities were ongoing in our various communities. What made it a major environmental problem is when sponsors introduced the use of huge earth-moving equipments. That is excavators, dozers, tipper tractors, trucks, and etc. That increased astronomically the level of devastation of our environment. If we are able to stop the excavators and earth-moving equipment from being used, and even just confine it to the artisanal activities of people just, using pickaxes and etc., would have considerably narrowed down the extent of damage caused by Galamsey. So I'm happy and I'm confident and I can report with all confidence that the level of devastation that we saw a year ago is no longer happening at the Galamsey sites. We are not saying that we have totally wiped out Galamsey, but we have dealt a deadly blow at Galamsey. We have dealt a deadly blow at Galamsey. We have recovered the forests. Those who are involved and those who have taken over our forest, we have recovered the forest. And the minister was here and the minister reported on all these things. So please don't present a picture out there as if nothing has been done about Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, the legal framework for policies being raised earlier on, and in particular, the issue of the 24-hour economy that was launched yesterday, you must understand 24 hours economy. And it was presented to this house by the head of the secretariat. He came here committee of the whole meeting, and he did a presentation to us. And it was launched yesterday. All Ghanaians were invited to the lunch. And as members of parliament, even when we are not invited to an event, we monitor the events on radio. Many of the issues that you are raising here, you heard them on radio. You read them on social media, on various platforms. You were not there. Were you there when 16 excavators got missing? How did you know? How did you get to know? You heard it. You heard that one. But you didn't hear about the launching of the 24-hour economy. Selective hearing. So, 24-hour economy, the $4 billion that is being discussed is not government money. The $4 billion is going to be private sector money with small government support to catalyze those ones. And those matters were mentioned in the budget. The President, in addressing Parliament, informed Parliament in the State of the Nation address. The Finance Minister mentioned it in Parliament here in the budget. When he comes for media review, he will repeat it. And every single policy, when it requires legislative approval, rest assured that I sit in cabinet, it will come to this Parliament for approval. Every single policy that requires legislative approval. So it's not going to be a policy or program that will not be monitored. And you ask the question that what are the incentives? That no incentive has been introduced by this government since assuming office. That is palpably untrue. Mr. Speaker, since this government took over, we have introduced policies that have led to the strengthening of the Ghana cedi. That is the major hindrance to the private sector. When you have an unstable currency that is ballooning and they cannot predict and they cannot project and they cannot plan their businesses, they cannot negotiate with their suppliers, and they cannot determine prices because every day the dollar was changing and they were having difficulties managing their business, and some were actually closing shop and moving to our neighboring countries. There can be no incentive better than stabilizing the dollar, bringing it down and stabilizing it. And that is the greatest incentive to the business community. There is no better incentive than managing inflation properly. And we have managed inflation properly. There is no business incentive better than keeping the monies in the banks so that when businesses need money and they go to the banks, they have money to borrow. When government goes there and use treasury bill and take all the money from the banks, and businesses cannot go to the banks and borrow, no matter what tax exemptions you give them and the 1D, 1F, they will collapse, they will fail, and they will run and leave this country. But today, government is not borrowing from the banks. There's so much money in the banks. Some businessmen have told me that banks are chasing them with money and they don't need the money. That is the best incentive that you can have for the private sector. We are fighting corruption ruthlessly. And that is what the business community needs. That you fight corruption, deal with red tapes, so that business can move smoothly and unhindered. And lastly, as we do this, the international rating agencies are rating us better and better. Those are the real incentives that our private sector need. And they need stable and reliable electricity. And that is why we are taking steps to make sure that they have reliable energy. And that is why, to deal with the reliable energy, you must deal with the debt. Yesterday, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition was here in this house, and he communicated to this house that we have a debt of over 64 billion Ghana cedis in the energy sector. This debt must be paid. And who has to pay them? Who has to pay them? It still has to be the same taxpayer, the same consumer. No, you ask the questions. I will give you the answers. Why do you want me to conclude? And that is why a 14% or 16% increase is fair. Because 64 billion Ghana cedis debt is owed by the energy sector and has to be paid. It has to be paid by consumers, paid by taxpayers, and managed by government. And the minister was at pains yesterday to explain the extent to which he is ensuring that the debt is reduced through efficiency in the management of the sector, efficiency in procurement. I know of agencies that NDC took over, and we have discovered that some agencies have they've procured goods and services that will only be used or can only be consumed for 5 years by those agencies. Why? Why will you procure goods and services that can only be consumed in 5 years? Why do you burden an agency to that extent? That is why we are compelled to introduce increments in tariffs to address those issues. And let's get to the employment and the so-called complaints of dismissal. Mr. Speaker, the Foreign Affairs Ministry is a different ball game. There are state-owned companies and corporations who will never make profit because we have saddled them with huge labor expenditure. We have employed and recruited far beyond the numbers that they need to be able to perform properly and profitably. And so some of them are compelled to lay off some of the workers. Otherwise, they can never be profitable. The Energy Committee had a retreat with the energy sector agencies. Ghana Gas Company reported to the Energy Committee that when the Ghana Gas facilities were established, they had 120 workers managing the facilities. The facilities are still the same. They haven't increased in size. Today, they have 1,200 workers. A facility that can be managed by 120 workers, and you go and burden that facility with 1,200 workers. And yet you haven't added additional facilities. The same plant, no change. And you want the management to continue to make profit with that level of burdening. And that is why in some cases, when they have an opportunity, they will have to make sure that they cancel the employment so that they can have some room to manage and try and be profitable. So please, let us clean the mess. Let us clean the mess. This country has to be reset. Some of us have to pay a price. We have to pay a price so that this country can be reset. So I plead with you, don't over-politicize every single decision that has been taken. Because if we are really going to go on that route, everything that you did, we will expose you. Mr. Speaker, the issue about 4 deputy ministers, I'm sure when the appointment is done, the communication will be to your very good self and you will announce it. I have already touched on the excavators. We will check with the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources if indeed any excavator got missing, where it got missing, and he will come and then explain to this House. Sitting times, yes, if we are going to sit on Mondays and Saturdays, I think ideally if we start early in the mornings, Mondays, early in the mornings, Saturdays, so that we can close early and then we can go and then attend our funerals and other programs. The media budget, the date will be communicated to us very soon by the Minister for Finance. We will communicate the date. I'm sure we can communicate the date on a Saturday. Don't worry about that. The condition of air conditioners, I'm sure they are being worked on by the relevant officers. And listing of outstanding referrals. Yes, we agree that all outstanding referrals should be listed so that we can put pressure on the various chairpersons of committees and enable them to come under some pressure to deliver on their promise to this House. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I urge members to adopt the report.
Yes, Honorable Anyimedo. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader, started by saying that people have turned the business statement into press conference. So I was expecting him to answer the questions that he needed to answer and ignore the press conference aspect. But instead, in the dispatch box, he joined the people doing the press conference. And this is not fair. Should not be encouraged. In so doing, he forgot the answer that I was requiring. My question was that since we are going to sit on Mondays and Saturdays, does it affect our timetable? Because of your press conference, you forgot. Mr. Speaker hasn't called you yet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the proposal, because we want to sit for a certain number of days in order to be able to have our allies mature, the proposal was whether we should extend when we go on recess or utilize Mondays and then Saturdays so that we don't have to extend when we go on recess. So Speaker opted to allow us to sit on Mondays, and I think the planned recess was supposed to be 25th, around 25th of 26th of July. So we're hoping to keep within that time frame. Thank you.
Honorable members, the leader and Honorable Anyimendo raised a very important issue, and as a house, we need to give it a thorough deliberations. Honorable members, the rules governing business statement are very clear. Order 69 is clear. 71 is very clear. 216 indicating what the business committee is supposed to do. They are very clear. But during the time of the presentation of the business statement, we make comments that are not supposed to be integrated into the business statement, or that will not necessarily call for a supplementary business statement. And the picture is not looking good. Whether or not a president will do appointment, is it a matter to be programmed for this house? The bail condition by EOCO, is it a matter to be programmed by this house? So why are we doing this to ourselves? And every day at the presentation of business statement, it's as if we are doing press conference. The comment is supposed to be on the business statement as presented. And we continue to inflict this injury to ourselves. Well, I indicated that I owe fidelity to the rules. And let me indicate that going forward, we need to operate within the rules. Honourable members, the business statement as presented is hereby adopted by the House. Majority Leader, any indication? Before then, let me acknowledge the presence of students visiting us. We have students from Air Force Station Basic School, led by Captain George Amuafo, Administrative Officer, coming all the way from Takoradi, and they numbered 179. Then we have St. Joseph RC Junior High School, led by Frank Akwesi, a teacher, and they are from Obuasi East. They numbered 83. We have Teshi Lekma 1 Junior High School, led by Anita Brafoa Edu, a teacher, and they are from Lejokuku constituency. They numbered 73. On behalf of the House, I welcome you to Parliament of Ghana, and may you have a fruitful visit. Thank you for coming. Yes, Majority Leader.
Speaker, we are in your hands. I think that we want to be able to adjourn early today. So if we can take an adjournment to Monday at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Okay, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, we started at 9. Oh, we started at 9. We started at 9. So it's 5 hours now. It's past 5 hours. So we are your hands. We started at 9.
Honourable Majority Leader, it's few minutes to 2 o'clock. So may you move a motion for adjournment. Few minutes to 2 o'clock. So,
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I move that this House be adjourned to Monday at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.